The Bridge Street History Center isn't just a house of artifacts. It's a home for stories, each one illuminating a piece of our town's legacy. So join us today as we uncover yet another piece of Granbury's history.
Roger Enlow with the Bridge Street History Center, and we're continuing to do oral history interviews with Hood County residents, some of them long-time Hood County residents, such as the one we have today, Mr. Donnie Johnson. And Mr. Johnson, speaking of long time, when were you born and where in Hood County?
March 12th, 1944.
March 12th, 1944. And where was this, Donnie?
I was born in Granbury, Texas, where the old Church of Christ is on Pearl Street. It was a little hospital there, they say, that's where I was born.
Little hospital. Okay. So.
Hendricks, the nurse, delivered me.
Oh, really?
A lot of old timers remember Miss Hendricks. She was a long-time nurse here for many, many years.
Right, right. Well, and your parents' names, what were their names?
My dad's name was Z.C. Johnson, Zeddy Curtis Johnson, and my mother's name was Maybelle Eunice Massey Johnson. And my mother was born in 1911. My dad was born in 1904.
Were they born in Hood County also?
Born in Hood County, in the Fall Creek community, and actually lived just across the road from each other down there where the Massey farm and the Johnson farm is down there. But Dad, as you can see, was several years old when they got married.
So what about their parents, which would be your grandparents? Did they come here from somewhere else, or were they born here?
The Masseys come from Tennessee. The old Massey cabin is still standing just east of the entrance to Pecan Plantation down there. At one time, the Massey owned all that land from the Pecan Plantation gate all into the river. The Masseys owned that, and later on they sold it and kept part of it down there where the Massey strips are. There's 11 of those Massey strips.
Mm-hmm. Now, Donnie, where were you raised? Where was the old home place for you?
I was raised in Membrano, Texas.
Okay.
And went to school there through the fourth grade. And that red school building is still standing there by the Baptist church.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Tile building.
What were those days like, Donnie?
I was a young man. It was during the drought in the 50s. I remember that we went 3 years without a crop. And my dad, we wound up sold the farm there,
You had to sell it to survive?
Jay Massey wound up with it. I don't really know what all happened there, but later on, we got to going again, and my dad bought a new tractor, and he went to work for the county as a road grade operator, which he could do, and Lonnie got the plow, I got the hoe.
And Lonnie being your brother?
My oldest brother, my older brother, yeah. So, wasn't a bit, we worked, played hard, worked. Yeah, we had plenty to do, keep us out of trouble.
Mm-hmm. Now, what did y'all raise on your farm, Donnie? Did you?
Peanuts and corn and milo.
Mm-hmm.
And some cotton back then, not that we quit the cotton.
What was it like raising peanuts? What all was involved in that?
I just prepping the land, and getting them, have them planted in. You could plant them up to July, but you need to. And we always talked about getting the September rains to make peanuts. And back then, the first combine that came, you picked them up with a pitchfork and throw them in the combine to And then later on, they had pickup attachments on the combine that picked them up out of the windrow. But as a small, I can remember when my dad farmed that hooked the mules up and went and farmed. And I remember when we got our first tractor. I was pretty small, but my oldest sister, when they went to Colette, my dad would even fix a tractor and team for her to go. And my mother, back then, all the women, wore bonnets to keep. And my mother made sure my sister had that bonnet on, and when she'd get on the other side of the barns, she'd take that bonnet off. Anyway, those are different days.
How do you do that?
People today don't understand. Kids like us, we
Keep it there.
toys we played with, old cultivator sweeps, and made our own stuff to play with, in the sand bed there. Went to town Saturday to get groceries, whatever. That's about it. Exciting about our life.
And a lot of people went to town on Saturdays. Granbury Square was buzzing, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. So it got over, Lonnie and I, we had Jersey cows. 7, 8 of them. Lonnie and I milked them every morning, every night. And Mother sold butter to Bruce Price Grocery, and we churn the cream and make the butter and bring that to town every Saturday when we came. So it was tough times back then on the farm after the drought,
I guess, Donnie, back then, that Hood County was a little bit different than what it is today. There was mostly rural and probably a lot of farmers and farms, and today it's just not quite that way.
It's a lot different. Lonnie and I, from time to time, we even driven a tractor to town, just. And I walked home from town, and you might walk. If somebody came, they knew who you were. They picked you up, but you might not see but 1 or 2 cars,
Now, about how far was it, Donnie, from town to your home?
We just lived real well. Where the trailer park is there in Milbrano by the Baptist Church, that's where our house and barn and stuff was there, and that's like 7, 8 miles.
Yeah. Wow.
Not that far anymore. It is if you're walking.
You mentioned about the drought and during the 50s, and those were some tough years, weren't they? And
I've heard my dad tell the story for years after that. When that was all over with, he owed $1,800. When he went to work for the county and started getting a check and everything, he'd go pay Mr. Zweifel at the First National Bank. And Mr. Zweifel, he wasn't the only farmer, but Mr. Zweifel had those papers, notes, in his desk. He didn't have to go get them out of the file because you got to write them off after a period of time. And he kept those. And, of course, my dad, over a period of, I think, the story goes 5 years, he paid that off.
wow.
And Mr. Zweifel, they didn't send guns out, and he told us that, as they say, left all them glasses, just pay as you can, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah.
He did all the farmers that he trusted that way.
Wow. Donnie, you mentioned, of course, the drought. What other kind of severe weather? Did you remember any storms, tornadoes, anything like that? Hail going up on the...
We had a terrible hailstorm. I don't remember the year, but I remember the occasion. As I was saying, my dad drove the grader for the county. And he had fallen through a bridge in Fall Creek with that road grader and had a broke leg and was on crutches. And we had a terrible, terrible hailstorm that beat all the windows out of the 2 sides of our house, blowed the top off one of the barns, and quite a mess for the area. And all the neighbors came put the barn back together.
Two neighbors.
Sorry, with the carpenter. You back there, you put, excuse me.
Yeah.
You put hay in the windows, you know, you put them back on, put the putty, drove the little metal wheels to hold glass in, and you put putty. All the neighbors come and put our house and barn back together in one day. And wait, you know, put that barn top back on. The neighbors bought 2x4s, whatever. We didn't go to the lumberyard and buy anything. Went and got all the sheet iron out in the pasture. I was pretty, but anyway, I remember that the women brought the dinner in for the guys. Gerald Hager, Ross Hager, he's the main partner that day, and John Purcelli did the house stuff and everything. So,
What a memory, Donnie.
Yeah.
Boy, that will never leave you, really. There's a lasting memory that what neighbors did back then, and it still happens today, but wow. They didn't have to do that, did they? They didn't have to do it.
Just what neighbor did, you know.
Yeah.
John Jones, Maury Bonner, all that bunch. I don't know. Do you remember John and Loretta Jones's dad and all that bunch who was there? Jay Macy and
Because
they
if
were
they're-
all there, you know, and we didn't have any ladders or nothing. And they put boards together, nailed boards across, climb up on the barn, and you know, but they had saws, didn't have no electrical, nothing, you know.
and if they hadn't have done that, Donnie, it would have been tough, wouldn't it? It'd have been difficult.
Dad wasn't able to do it, you know. So, but yeah,
Wow.
that's just another
Wow.
something that made the prod on what good people can do, or will do, and know how to do, you know, or willing to do. So.
Donnie, you mentioned Lonnie, your older brother. Did you have any other brothers or sisters?
I had two older sisters. I have a sister that's 94, and I have another sister that's 89. I actually went to see them Sunday. That was one of my New Year's resolutions, to see my sisters once a month, which we've been kind of neglecting a time frame, or I have visited them, and they're both doing good. My 94-year still lives at home, and she's very fortunate. She has a great grandson that lives with her, and her wife, and takes care of her. Yeah, what little she needs. She just quit driving like a year or so ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
What was it like, the family life there, Donnie? Were y'all a close-knit family? I assume you were.
Yeah, with close, of course, like my oldest sister, 94, I was pretty little when she left. Went to work at Montgomery Warriors. Always bringing me something home
No.
from Montgomery Warriors.
Like what? Do you remember anything
Oh,
particular?
A knife and scabbard, and a hatchet, and maybe baseball gloves. You know, just
Right.
something. You know, they had what they call the bargain rack over then.
Right.
And those people that worked there had first access to that, so anything she'd find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would y'all have like family meals together, sit down together and the big meals?
They all ate together, all sat down.
Your mother right there?
Every morning she made homemade biscuits,
Your mother?
and every dinner we had cornbread. And we all sat down to eat, and then at night we'd eat what was left over from dinner, you know, pretty much.
Right. Did you said you had cows on your place? Did you have your own beef too? Did you have beef cattle and?
Kill our own calf. You know, have the Robinson locker plant here in town, and when we come on Saturdays to get our groceries, we go by all the way home and get meat out of our locker plant there. Everybody had their own drawer or whatever they call it with their meat in it.
What about vegetables? Did you grow your own vegetables there on your place?
Vegetables, yeah. Lots of vegetables. put 1 year on one side and 1 year on the other side, and what you had left here, you throw away and put the new here and eat on the other side. Yeah. And put dried peaches on top of the barn, put them up there dry. Did all that stuff. Pick peas, but we learned a lot from picking peas. Miss Robinson and Miss Atkins, the noted
School teacher?
school teacher, math and English, came out. They wanted to pick peas. We had one field that had 50 acres in it. He planted 2 rows of corn and 2 rows of peas. That was, and people come pick those. They picked them on the halves. They get half, we get half. But for some reason, while they were still there, my dad threw their half over into the pig pen. Oh, Lord. Wait till they leave before you discredit the pigs. It was hard to love them. But not after their back was hurting. They didn't think that was very fun.
What else, Donnie? What other responsibilities did you have at home? You mentioned milking cows, but I'm sure you had
We
others.
fed the animals and did all that. Made her bed up every morning when we got up.
First thing, right?
Made her bed up, yeah. Did whatever, there was always something to do.
What kind of house was it? What was it made out of, your house?
It was one of those older homes, it just had the 1 by 12 walls on it, high ceilings, fireplace. I remember when they got butane, them old fireplaces, wood stoves. And
Did you have electricity all along?
we got electricity in 1949. And I remember going to Montgomery Ward's and buying the first ice box that come out and the strings to pull. Now, people laugh at me. I was 16 years old. We moved to Acton when I was 16. That's the first house I lived in that had an indoor bathroom in it.
Well, that was my next question. So you did not, growing up in Membrano, didn't have the indoor plumbing. Yeah. And most people didn't, probably.
No,
You didn't think anything about it, did you?
you just did what you had to do.
How rough was it getting up in the middle of the night and going?
Just whatever, you need to go to the bathroom and go doing one outside. But, they call them slop jars or pots,
Yeah.
what, the girls used it, and they take them out the next morning,
Right.
Had the bath and a wash tub,
Uh-huh.
Heat the water on the stove,
Right.
all that good stuff.
You mentioned, Donnie, that you went to Membrano School there through the 4th grade.
Yeah.
And then after that, what?
Granbury in the 5th grade.
Granbury?
Yeah. Miss Phillips was my 5th grade teacher.
Let's back up. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. Going to the Membrano School, what was that like? Was it like a one room? Were you in with older students, or what?
Well, we first started, when my sister was there, it went through the 10th grade. Then later on, we went like maybe to just the 5th grade. Leslie Murray, Hubert Hager, all that bunch, was school. Lonnie didn't fit in any grade level class. He went 3 years there with a class by himself, and I think that kind of made him sour in school because they had trouble trying to fit him in. I was, with Elaine Humphreys, that bunch was in my class, and we came, Johnny Hollis, when we came to Granbury there in the 5th grade.
Do you remember your teachers?
Miss Dunham.
Mrs. Dunham. What was she like?
Oh, she just loved us all, She was so kind to us.
Spoiled you?
What I actually think where she'd always bring us home occasionally and spend the night with her, with a down house there that's on the lake now. That's where they didn't have any children that I were of it. They'd bring us home. But that's also the school where Winnie Pauline Flint, first year she taught was.
Oh, yeah. What was she like?
She didn't teach me, but she was there. I remember Bill or she wasn't married. He'd come in, he was in an Air Force. He'd come down there, and I don't think they was married when he would come down there and get her. So, but that was her first teaching.
Were there any men teachers or principals or anything there?
Mrs. Andrews taught there. Virgil.
Okay.
David Andrews.
Mom and Dad, yeah.
They didn't, but they were there. I remember when they were there. My dad was on the school board and all that, So.
Was there some discipline there involved? Was there some spankings and all? Were the kids, some of the kids a little rowdy or?
Pretty good, like me. I tried to be pretty good because it'd be a minor deal there to what it would be when I got home.
Did that ever happen?
Yes.
Uh-oh. I hear my dad always threatened me with a razor strap. I don't think he ever used one, but you had a razor? Plenty of those? That probably hurt.
Yeah, Lonnie and I get in trouble, and we wouldn't tell on each other who done it, so we whipped both of us.
Okay, so you moved school. You moved to Granbury. You didn't move to Granbury, but you changed schools to Granbury. So what was that like when you came to Granbury? Was it a whole different deal for you, or was it about the same?
That's the same, just pay attention, do your homework, My sixth grade teacher was Miss Odette Myers. You remember her well. Miss Dansby in the seventh grade. Mr. Carter was our principal. There was a lady here named Miss Iden that was a first-year teacher that came here. I remember her. I often wonder what happened to her.
Did you recall any specific memories, Donnie, about going to school in Granbury? Anything interesting that happened? Any kind of shenanigans that took place, or any kind of anything like that?
Of course, when I was a junior in high school, that's when I had a life-changing experience when I had the accident on the sled that hit the fire hydrant, and wore 4 different casts from January to September, and was on crutches for a year. And
what happened on that, Donnie?
Was riding on a sled on the ice on January the 28th, 1961, and it swung us into a fire hydrant. The car was behind the car, in front of Eric Mitchell's house, going down the hill.
That banged you up pretty good, didn't it?
Yeah.
Was it a touch and go sometime, or was your life in jeopardy?
It was 3 months before they decided it was going to heal.
Wow.
Broke it just like when I hit the deal on the fire, it broke it just like you break a bone, Broke that bone same way. About 3 months before it showed much signs of healing, and then it healed over. It still swells, as you can see today. And that's since 1961. I was 16 years old. And I had, I loved athletics, and I played and did well in them. But change your whole outlook on life.
Let's talk about athletics a little bit. You played probably baseball and football and basketball. You probably
basketball, run the hurdles and track.
Oh,
was what football and track was my deal. Run the hurdles.
Long hurdles or short, like the
Run both. And actually, when I was a sophomore, Velton Hayward and I, we both got to go to 11 for the finals in Pittsburgh, and we thought we both was pretty hot, and when we run the final race, the guy that beat us from out West Texas beat us all about 10 yards. Last heat, it was Belton. He's a little older than he did, but anyway.
Well, y'all didn't.
I come in last, thank goodness.
You didn't have a track in Granbury to practice on, did you? Where did you practice?
We ran there's some form of a track where you set those hurdles up. I don't remember.
Somebody got a tractor out and just made like a circle or oval or something?
Seemed like we went to stable and practiced over on the Tarleton.
Probably did, but before you went to the Lubbock and do that, yeah. So where was the football field, Donnie? Where was the football games played?
Right where they just tore the stadium down there behind Lecker Gym.
Who would y'all play? What schools, towns would come to play? You remember?
Played Comanche and Hamilton and Decatur, I believe. Decatur.
Probably a pretty good turnout of fans on Friday night, right? That was big entertainment.
About all there was to do, you know.
Oh, speaking of that entertainment, let's back up a little bit more. Would you come to town sometimes for entertainment around town, or what did y'all have entertainment when growing up? What did you do?
What church? That was about our entertainment.
Okay. And where was that?
Well, we went to the Baptist church there in Mount Brown until I was 12 years old or so. Yeah. Then we came as first Methodist there on the half hour.
Yeah.
That's when I joined the Methodist church in 1958. So I was 14. And they were 4 or 5 of us done that Sunday morning. We'd had a little deal. That's when Buddy Cox was here. You remember him and the Liz boys? Yeah. And 2 or 3 boys. It was pretty honoring. Anyway.
Preacher's kids.
Yeah. So they sprinkled everybody to me, and there was one lady sitting, I don't remember who she was, said, "Y'all miss Donnie?" Preacher said, "No, Donnie didn't want to be sprinkled." So everybody, so they took me to the Brazos River, Birches, the following Sunday, and I wanted to be baptized like Jesus was. I wanted to be done. And the whole church, I think, came to see the baptism where Birch's farm is, where they had the old cross in there where the gas line crossed, and he used to get cross with a team and mule there, And so that's where we all met. They baptized me.
That was probably from your Baptist church there.
No, I just thought Jesus was baptized. I wanted to be baptized.
Like Jesus. Cool.
Nothing other. I don't.
Oh, Donnie, what about these Saturday night singings? Wasn't there a lot of that going on back then at different churches on like the first Saturday of the month or so? Did y'all go to those?
They had a lot of revivals back then, and everybody would go to, a lot of them just go to revivals to hear the singing, But they did have the singing. My mother and dad both, they sang in a quartet. I didn't get any of their ability to sing.
It went another generation, didn't it?
The next generation got a little of it. So.
Now, when we're talking about these churches, of course, we're talking small country churches and probably tabernacles. You want to talk about tabernacles a little bit?
Yeah, we did service of that. The Baptist church was there, and the old Methodist church was there that joined it. It was fenced off there. The old church building was there for long. Jack Kennard bought the property, that property was between there and John Purcell's, Kenneth Purcell's dad's place. And he tore the old Methodist church down there.
Back in the day, you'd see a lot, not just here in Hood County, but around Texas, rural Texas. You'd have a church and a tabernacle, and then a cemetery. You have all three there together, right? Yeah.
But talking about those cemeteries, I remember going with my dad. You know, when people died back then, the community dug the graves. And Legend Ridge Cemetery was the first place that I went with my dad to do graves, and then that had rock down there. And Maury Barr and John Jones had dynamite, and they dynamite those graves. I thought that was about the neatest thing I ever throw all that stuff up there and dig those graves down there.
Donnie, what year did you graduate from high school, and what did you do after school?
Graduated in 1962. The first semester, I didn't go to college. First semester, I stayed home. My dad was had some heart issues. I think I helped him harvest it. I guess that was his last crop. Then I went to Tarleton there the second semester and the next year, and then I went to North Texas for, and I still like a little getting a degree in industrial technology and industrial management. That I wish I'd gotten a degree, but life has been good. I've been blessed anyway.
So after school, what happened then, Donnie? Did you go to work and marry, or?
Well, actually, while I was going to school in North Texas, Kay Kennan and I got married in 1964.
And then where did you work then and then afterward?
Well, prior to that, I worked for, while we were still in the summer, I worked for Republic Steel, and I was a welder, and then when I went to North Texas, I went to Texas Instruments, worked in a machine shop there, and then I left there and went to Bell Helicopter. And when I left there is when I started in 1972 in Johnson Equipment.
Talk a little bit about Johnson Equipment, Donnie. What was that about?
Well, it was something that I always wanted to do, and I got the opportunity to do it and built it and was there 37 years. And when I sold it out and the property out took 5 days, I took that money and went to West Texas and bought a ranch. A lot of people didn't know that. I kept that. I'd already bought an irrigated farm out there in Abernathy where Cullen, my son, lived. It went to Tech.
Now, Donnie, I know that you were very involved with the Hood County Livestock Raisers Association. You were, I think, president for several years, and
no, I was just not Lonnie. My brother's one that I was involved with it, but not like Lonnie has been. Lonnie, he's really was a grassroots part of that livestock raiser. He's still a member, and but I was active, and the kids were there, and did the auction several years later.
You did. Mm-hmm.
It helped whatever needed to be done, and I was there when we put the metal pins on the barn and all that.
For people that don't know, the Livestock Raisers Association sponsors an annual fair, stock show for the kids, for the 4-H and the FFA students in Hood County, and it's just grown and grown and grown.
Yeah.
Had it. Did you? And I think you did, Donnie. Didn't you participate in it when you were a kid in the stock show?
I was about out time. That got to rolling, I had, back then, they had what they called a Sears and Roebuck program where you had a registered Duroc gilt. You raised it, and then you had a litter of pigs, and you give a pig back for another child. I was fortunate. I had a good one that I got to show at the Dallas State Fair. Took it over and got second place, and I won the heavy litter contest and all that, and I got to sell all my females back to the association to give to other people. If they didn't have enough, they give me a premium because I'd shown and they were all top quality. So that was a pretty good deal for me back in. So
What did it take to raise a prize pig?
I did this. Of course, you know, we did not like they do today, have it on the, you know, had a pen, but maybe, you know, not its own bedroom, you know, we just kind of run it. But anyway, you fed it, take extra, you just, some animals are just good no matter what. You know, and this happened to be one of them. I had all the characteristics and qualities, leg length, the body length, the straight back, the tail curl just right, you know, and everything that the judge looked for that pig and her piglets had it. So it was
You know, you mentioned being an auctioneer, and that was for your business, but you also volunteered to do auctions at many charity events over the years, Donnie. How did you become an auctioneer? How did that start?
Well, I actually went to the Associated Screw Auctioneer back in the early 70s or somewhere. I went to that. I actually had it in Fort Worth at that time. But, you know, I've been to a lot of auctions, and everybody, you know, you drive down the road practicing and doing all that. But they met me if you go to school, you know, get auction, there's more to it than all. You got to learn how to breathe. If you can't breathe and control your stomach, you run out of gusto. You got to control just like Burke singing. You know, if you're going to sing for 3 or 4 hours, you see those people, you know, you just can't sit there and blow all the air out. You got to learn how to work your stomach and your muscles and work your chin.
It's just not.
Like you know what you're doing.
Yeah. Donnie, could you give us?
Attention. You got to pay attention when you're auctioning your bidders, who's bidding, and if they don't get it, you know to come back to them next time when they get something come up to the interest, you know. You got to pay attention to be a good auctioneer.
What were some of the events, charity events that you've volunteered and done your auctions at?
Well, about all of them here from, the main one when we sold, what was it, when we sold all the Christmas trees here every Christmas. So it was,
Christmas for Children?
no, the Junior Lemons Club, didn't they sponsor that? Other, you know, the Crossville, the Heart Association, that other vets around there, we helped, and just a lot of just, you know, where people needed help, they had a fundraiser for them, you know, family to help them. People donated stuff and we sold it. Lots of it, spent a lot of time, Lonnie and I both have, we had raised lots of money.
Thank you for doing that. That's great.
Barry stepped up now doing a great job doing it.
Donnie, when did you become a board member of the First National Bank?
1992.
92. And what does that entail? What as a board member?
Well, you got to pay attention what's going on and kind of be versed in the actual community, what's going on in your community, and being able to, I don't know, there's a lot more to it today than there was when I first started with all the rules and regulations that falls under the loan categories and how our bank is presented, and and like Mr. Luton, when I went on the board in 1992, Mr. Luton came out to my store and said, "Donnie, you got a second? I want to talk to you." So we went in the office, and he said, "We would like to have you come on the board of directors at First National Bank. They were needing some outside directors. You got to have outside directors, the audit committees and all that. Those people have to be outside directors outside of the bank." And so, anyway, I sat there and listened to him, and this big old luck coming. Andy Rash, whose granddad had been on, when he was on the board of directors with Mr. Zweifel now, but way back when, and Andy had bank stock. His granddad that was on he had bank stock, and he was hoping someday that he could be on the board of directors. And I was sitting there, and Mr. Luton was asking me to be on the board of directors, and I was sitting there thinking about it, and then Andy's not going to like this. Me and Andy are friends, that I'm going to get to go on the board of directors, and he's not. And he was sat there and talked a little bit, and he said, "Now, I've also talked to Andy," and see, then he's not that, "Oh, thank you, God." But he wants to participate too. And back then, shares were hard to come by. So I got shares from another, the members there letting me have enough shares. Caraway let me have enough shares.
You have any other memories of Mr. Luton? That's a good one. Any other?
Oh, he's a joy, you know. Kept everything in order. I've seen him get unhappy, and his veins get just as big on top of his head that would his dad when things would go wrong, you know. He was a great guy, a great banker, and knew how to work people, and he was just a pretty amazing guy.
What about his son, John Henry Luton, and then James Hodges, the other two key?
Well, of course, when John Henry came in to the show, you know, at first they didn't give him a lot of responsibility, and you know, he liked to run and play and did, but when the time came around, he took over. And to this day, he still knows everything that's going on at that bank. Don't try to outsmart him. He knows what's going on. And him and James Hodges, together with their talent, James is a unique person. He had the ability to see over the curve what was coming, to make decisions, you know, what to pay for interest, what to do at the bank. He had instead of that, has a vision of the future that most people don't have. He's a very talented, and you put him and John Henry's talent together, you can see what has happened to the First National Bank. When James started there, it was like a $6 million bank. When I come on board, it was like a $60 million bank. Right before COVID, we were close to $1 billion bank. COVID came, everything, but now we're back up 900. Good possibility, they say next year with First National may be a $1 billion bank.
Wow.
And that's what, along with that, another one of my duties there now, I'm chairman of the audit committee, and we meet separately, and then I give a report to the regular meetings in from our audit committee. Anyway, it's and one of the first things that Mr. Luton told me at the first bank meeting, he looked me straight in the eye. He said, "Donnie, understand one thing. what goes on in this board meeting stays in the board meeting. Do you understand? I said, yes. And, you know, the thing is discussing people's business. It needs to stay there, and that's where it is down there.
Great. Thank you, Donnie. Anything else you'd like to add that we haven't covered?
That's about it. You know, life has told me a few curves with a couple wives passing away and going through that, but I've got through that, and I've been blessed to have them two good guys, Kay Kennan and Linda West. And so life has been good. Thank you.
Thank you, Donnie, for everything you've done for Granbury and Hood County. You've done so much here, and the kids, I know with 4-H and FFA, they appreciate you so much, and their parents, and if it wasn't for you and Lonnie, that we wouldn't be having these stock shows. It wouldn't be happening, and everything else.
Nice thank you cards from the
and
people that showed evidence.
And then not only that, all the
And their parents.
yeah.
Except
Maybe grandparents for too long, or maybe it's already happening.
taking time to send thank you notes for your service. Makes you feel like it wasn't a lost cause, you know. But, you know, like you're talking about, what about Granbury now? It's just got to get with the flow, or you're going to get run over around here now. So,
Literally, right on the highways you're talking about.
but anyway, it's what Granbury is. But when the lake came in here, you know, we were going to grow, and we have it, and it will continue to grow. It's just, it's no different here than any other town that has growth. You know, go to Houston or Dallas. You know, it's just a part of the way things is. Either you adapt to it, find a place where you can fit in, be happy, or you be miserable. I don't want to be miserable. I want to be happy. I want to be with my friends like y'all and talk about good times, old times, present times, and the future. What we're going to do in the future, you know. What we're going to do. What the bombing. What, you know, there's nothing we can do about it, but get our life in order. You know, I don't like it, but what do you do about it? So anyway, there's lots of things going on, and life is just what you make out of it.
So true.
And I've been blessed, and I thank God every day. Every day.
Thank you, Donnie.
Yeah.